Set up here. Okay. I'm live there. I'm live there. Hi, everybody. Jody Bentley here. Hi, CEO of Actor Insider and the Actor's Office. And I am coming live to you on this first Friday. No, this isn't a first Friday. I will be going live on the first Friday. This is, I don't know what Friday this is. Maybe the 3rd? Who knows? Friday the 16th. Let's just say that. I am live here on Friday, January 16th for our coaching and coffee hour, where I drink my green tea and answer all the questions that you have about your acting business. I'm just getting set up here 1 second still. Let me know that you are there. Come say hi. I'm going to give you all a second to find me. Okay, great. I am live there. I'm going to keep this open. Too many things to be open. I am live here on, what am I on? Instagram. I am live on Instagram. I am live at Actor Insider. I'm live in my Facebook community, now renamed the Actor Insider Community. And I am live on my YouTube channel, also called Actor Insider. I seem to be frozen there, but we'll figure it out. All right. Hi. Oh my gosh. I haven't been, just hit myself in the face with my mic. Let me move that back there. That was good. I seem to be, okay, there we go. I think we're okay here. All right. Hi. Hey, Andy. Oh my God, Andy, so much to share with you. We need to have a little catch up. Andy, I've known for a very, very long time. All right. I think we got the lay of the land. I think we're good here. I think I'm all set up. Okay. Hi, everybody. Once again, if you're just tuning on in, I'm Jody Bentley. I am CEO of Actor Insider and the Actor's Office, going live on all my platforms today for our coffee and coaching hour. Now, this will be the last coffee and coaching hour I do. But now hold on. Let me quantify that. Qualify that? Not quantify, qualify that. We are rebranding our coffee and coaching hour. It is now called Actor Insider Live, and I will be going live on the first Friday of every month. So that is our new schedule for our Q&As, and it's going to be a Q&A for actors who really want to build sustainable careers. So if you've been tuning in to my lives, I was going twice a month last year, probably the year prior, but my schedule has just gotten so busy. I'm in development on my feature film. Auditions have been really picking up and really, there's been a lot. It's been great. So I am going to have to cut back a little bit here, but that's all right because I'm still going to show up live once a month for you. And it'll be called Actor Insider Live on all my platforms at 10 a.m. on the first Friday of every month. So mark your calendars. You'll see we'll be announcing that and putting out the new information about all of that. So just wanted to put that out there. Let me know. I don't see, let me know if you're, yeah, usually I have lots of people on Instagram by now, and I don't know if there is. If you're on Instagram, let me know. Say hi. Let me know where you are. All right. So, oh my gosh, it's in 2 weeks into the year. I'm going to take a sip of tea. First of all, if you're tuning in right now, I really want to hear how you are, hear what's going on, right? We're 2 weeks into 2026. So let me know in the chat how you're feeling, what's been going on, what's a big win you've already had in these 2 weeks of the year. Fill me in on that. I need to take a breath. It was a busy morning. Let's see. I'll share a couple wins I've had. I've had 2 auditions for recurring roles on TV series. That has been really lovely. Lots of movement on my feature film that I'm in development on. I have a great meeting today. A big known actor is reading my script right now. So let's put out the juju, fingers crossed for all of that. So lots of good movement so far at the top of this year. Yeah, and this week went by so fast. I can't believe it's Friday, but here we are. So again, if you're just tuning on in, hi there, I'm Jody Bentley. I am an actor, and I am the CEO of Actor Insider and the Actor's Office, going live on Friday, the 16th here, to answer any and all questions you have that's going on in your acting business. All right, Carla. Hi, Carla. Nice to see you, Carla. All right, Carla has a question. You have a callback today in person. Oh, that's bananas. From a video audition where I established the environment with props, dish rags, wiping down glasses in the bar. Oh. Her question is, and I already started answering it in my head, but for in person, certainly not going to bring glass and rags, correct? You know, I trust that for an in-person audition, Carla, that they'd have some kind of setup for you, right? Especially if they've seen you do that. Because if you're supposed to be at a bar and doing things and feeling like you're living in an environment, you're going to want to do those things. It's interesting. I haven't had the luxury of an in-person audition in a while. All my callbacks have been on Zoom. Yeah, I've been on Zoom. So first of all, this is very exciting. But I've had a few other clients I had one client actually who was like a producer session for a series regular role. And she did bring in all her props just in case they didn't set up an environment, she wanted to be ready. So, if anything, I would bring like a plastic cup and a rag, right? Just so you had something in your hand. And, you could, if they might have a stool in the room or something, you can go, I'm just going to borrow this and put this down, right? Just so you can have some, some activity. I'm wiping my microphone, right? But you know what I mean? Like some activity that you're doing. I would do that. I wouldn't like bring a whole freaking set, but I would definitely bring something to make you feel grounded in the environment so it doesn't feel so different from the self-tape that you did, you know? Yeah, I would just bring like a cup and a rag, and then the rag you can use as a thing. You can do things. So I would bring those things and see how that goes. But congratulations, number one, and how exciting, and let me know how it goes. It's really great. It's really great. Yeah, it's so fascinating now, with people going back in the room. And I know in New York, that is pretty common now, especially for theater and musical theater. But so many of us film and television actors now, it's like, wait, what do I do in the room? We used to only go in the room, and now it's like, I don't know what to do in the room. So it's such a valid question, And I love that you're starting off the new year with the callback. That's amazing. All right, let me know. How is it going? Hi, Mike. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Mark on Instagram here. Welcome. Oh, thanks, Carla. Carla said, you are wonderful. I could have demonstrated with my beautiful crystal instead of my microphone. That was an odd choice, Jody. It was just sitting there. Anywho, hi, Ziggy. All right, so we are here answering questions that you have. So look, the top of the new year for me has been about how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel in 2026? So that's my big question to you if you're tuning in today. And you might already be feeling disappointed. You might already be feeling overwhelmed. You might be feeling excited, right? You might be feeling hopeful. Great. And wherever you are. And that's awesome. And that's the place you get to start from. But I think for me going into this year was like, how do I want to feel? Because there was multiple points at the end of last year when things were extremely busy that I was feeling overwhelmed and working too much and working every night, and I was getting a little burnt out. And so going into this year, it was like, how do I want to feel? And I want to feel grounded. I want to feel ready. I want to feel joyful, creative, and I've managed to do that for the first 16 days of the year so far. So hooray. But I really just invite you to think about, how do you want to feel in your career? And what do you have to do? What do you get to do to make that happen, to allow those feelings to happen? I've so many times people say, but I want to feel grounded and I want to feel, forward motion, but then they don't take the steps to actually feel that way. So they're still trying to fit the square peg in the round hole, right? They still don't have a deep clarity on who they are as an artist. They still don't have strategy on how to get where they want to go. Or they're staying with their old agent and just complaining about it and not taking any steps about how to either repair the relationship, strengthen the relationship, or move on to a new relationship. So once you understand how you want to feel, you get to take action to precipitate that, to allow that to happen, to make that happen. Because we can't just say, I want to feel joyful all year, and then not do anything to bring yourself towards that. So I really invite you to think about how you want to feel, and then what are the steps that you get to take. One thing I wanted to feel was very centered and ready. Like I want to feel ready and I want to feel good, like mentally and in my body. And so this week, 3 days this week, I woke up at 6 a.m. and I did a whole new morning routine. And oh my God, I feel incredible. I feel amazing. Like this new routine I'm doing, I'm like, oh, this is what allows me to feel like I can handle anything all day. Right. Cause like today I'm working on my book that I'm writing. I have a meeting with a line producer for my feature film. What am I doing? I'm working on a launch that I'm doing in March for you guys. I'm doing a free 5-day training. I'm working on that today. Right. So I have all these different moving parts. But I, again, said to myself, this is how I want to feel. And so, what's the action I need to take to feel that way to be able to do all the things? So, yeah, Ziggy says, I want to feel happy and confident. Amazing, Ziggy. So, what do you need to do? What do you need to do to allow that to happen on a daily basis? Right. And look, we know that that's not going to happen 100% of the time. I'm not going to feel grounded and ready 100% of the time. Right. That's impossible. We're not robots. But I think it's important to go, how do I want to feel in this career and in this life that I've chosen? Because you chose it. You chose to be an actor and you get to remember that. And you get to choose the life that you want to live. You get to choose the lifestyle that you have and how you want to feel in that. So again, I really invite you all to think about that. And then what do you need to do to make that happen? Hi, Makuya. Hi, Tony. Nice to see you. Hi. Yeah, we're here chit-chatting. Hi, I'm Jody Bentley. I am an actor. I am CEO of Actor Insider and the Actor's Office. We were talking about, the start of the new year and how I've been easing into the year. Easing. I'll say easing. It's been busy already, but I want to say ease because that's also a way that I want to feel, right? Is full of ease. So we're just talking about how you want to feel at the top of the year and how to make that happen and sustain that. Yeah. All right. Jay says, "Oh, this is how I want to feel and this is how I want to feel and what I'm going to do to have that wonderful." Oh, good, Jay. I'm glad that this resonates. This resonates. Yeah, really think about that. Tony says, "Good morning." Because so many times I think I'll say people set New Year's resolutions, right? I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I believe in goals. That's me. Some of you might think like the word intention. Some of you might relate to resolutions. It doesn't matter. It's all a word, right? But you get to to latch onto what feels good to you. But I'll just say, I think sometimes people set resolutions, but then don't have a plan to follow through or execute on them. And I think a lot of times, again, we leave out how do we want to feel? We assume the feeling will come if we do the things that we've set out. But why don't we just reverse engineer it and go, this is how I want to feel. So what do I need to do? What do I need to do? I had a lovely holiday with family. It's always so much, right? So many people to see. My husband and I are both from the same hometown. So there's just so much. And it's never relaxing. Never relaxing. And my in-laws like the drink. And so, I probably drank every day I was home for 2 weeks. So I'm doing a dry January. Why? Because I want to feel healthy. I want to feel centered in my body. I don't want to feel clouded, I'll in February, I'll have wine on the weekends. I love my wine. I love wine with food. There's so much I love about the wine experience. I'm not going to give that up. But right now I'm doing dry January because I want to feel centered in my body, right? So again, this is kind of what I'm talking about is how do you want to feel and what do you need to do? And sometimes the things you need to do is not comfortable, right? Getting up at 6 a.m. 3 days this week was not necessarily comfortable, but it felt good once I did it, right? Do I really want to have a glass of wine tonight and watch a movie with my husband? Yeah, but I'm not going to do it because I wanted to feel a certain way and I've set a goal for myself. So these are kind of things that I'm talking about here. Yeah, Tony says self-care is my priority for 2026. Amazing. Tony, you've been pinned for something already this year? What? I love it. Congrats. Oh, I love it. Amazing. This is what we're talking about. Tony is a mover and a shaker. He says what he's going to do and he does what he says. I think I said the same thing there, but you know what I mean? And he shows up and he does the work. And that's what's so important. That's so important. So important. Congrats, Tony. Congrats. Oh my God. All right. So look, I am here to answer questions that you have, not for you to hear me blab on about stuff, though I trust this is helpful. But I really want to answer any questions that you have. So what's been coming up for you at the top of this year so far? How are you, again, how are you feeling? Maybe it's not how you want to be feeling. So let's talk it out and see how we can get there. A lot of stuff I've been talking about with the actors in my mastermind group. I run 3 mastermind groups for actors. They're limited to 4 actors each. We meet twice a month. It's really high level coaching. They get free membership to my actors think tank. So they have all the lessons and all my intellectual property, everything that I teach. And the big thing, like hands down across the board with like everybody in the 3 groups, is everyone's like, please help me create a quarter plan. Please help me create a quarter plan so I don't burn out in January. Because I think that's what can happen is we get excited. It's a new year. You're like, I want to do all the things in all the world. I'm talking about this with the people in my Dare to Be Unstoppable course right now, which is my starting your year, ending your year, starting your year course. And it's so many of us are multi-hyphenates. So many of us have so many things we want to be doing. And it's great. It's great to have your hands in so many pots. As I said, today I'm working on my book that I'm writing. I'm working on my feature film. I'm working on my free 5-day training for you guys. I'm trusting an audition will come in that I'll get to work on. You know what I mean? Like there's lots of things to be working on. So we have our hands in many pots. But I think it's so important to think of your year in quarters, right? And maybe this quarter is a time for one project and and then we can move some other stuff to quarter 2. Because I feel what happens is we overload quarter 1 because we get excited. And most of us, including myself, are not good judges of time. Right. I've gotten way better in my life, but even now I'm like, oh, yeah, I could complete that in an hour. Like 3 hours later, I'm like, I totally underestimated that. Right. So I think it's just important to recognize that about yourself, but also to look at this quarter. Right. So that's what I did. And this is what I do with my clients. This is what I do in Dare to Be Unstoppable. And it's what I did with everyone in Mastermind Group is we created a 3-month plan. And we're like, what's really the priority for these next 3 months? What's the priority? What's most important for you? What's really going to move the needle? And yeah, you might want to take that Shakespeare class or that clowning class or do something or whatever. But is that really important right now to move the needle? The answer might be yes, because it might fuel your soul. Cool. But what's really important in this first quarter to jumpstart everything? Because when we overload it, then we get overwhelmed and then we retreat and don't do it. And then at the end of the quarter, we feel like a failure. So I invite you just to reframe this and set yourself up for success in 2026 and not for overwhelm and for criticism of yourself, right? Because you put too much on your plate. That was impossible. So even for me, I had an idea this morning and I was like, oh yeah, I really wanted to do that. And I had the idea last year too. And then I looked at it and I said, okay, this is a quarter 2, quarter 3 goal. It's not a quarter 1 goal. My quarter 1 is already stacked, right? So anything new that comes up or anything new that I want to do, or if someone comes to me and is like, oh, hey, can you teach a workshop in February? I'm going to say no, because I can't, because my quarter is stacked, but I can renegotiate to do it some other time. Now, obviously that's different for an actor, right? If I book a series next week, my whole schedule's changing and other things will get moved to quarter 2. But this is what planning is, right? I think sometimes people think a plan is this concrete thing that you create and then you sit there and you have to execute it no matter what. But we got to know that it's a flexible, living, breathing thing. But it's up to you to create it for, again, how you want to feel and what you want to accomplish. So if any of you are already feeling a little overwhelmed in 2026, I really invite you to think about your whole quarter and what really makes sense here. Really think about how much time things take and what do you want to be doing. Last year I got headshots in the last quarter of the year. They're being retouched right now. I can't wait to share them with you. I'm so excited. I had originally thought that was a quarter 2 goal. And then it just didn't happen. It didn't happen until quarter 4, but that's okay. I got it done. And it's okay to move things because, again, we're not robots and we can't do everything all at once, right? All right. Jay says, I had a callback for an A-list feature before the holidays. Oh, that's amazing. Haven't heard anything. Okay. Second callback to be determined ASAP. The question is about letting big projects go. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Not second guessing my tape, trying to focus on getting that huge audition and first callback thoughts. Oh, Jay, this is a big thing. So I had I get this. Oh man, I get it. All right, I have like a couple stories I want to share. But of course you're feeling this way. Of course you're feeling this way. So give yourself some grace, number one. But it's what our brains do, because the closer we get, the harder it is to let it go. And even sometimes in the beginning, it's hard to let it go. I got an audition from my Atlanta agent, and I just signed with an Atlanta agent mid-year last year. I've only had a couple auditions because she's really submitting me for like bigger stuff. And the Atlanta casting directors don't know me yet. So that's one of my goals this year is to get more on their radar. But I got a recurring role on a TV series, and I loved the role. Oh my God, I loved it. I had so much fun doing this audition, and it was due. When was it due? Oh, a week ago. It was due a week ago. And it didn't say when the callbacks were, but I assumed that by Tuesday, if I didn't hear, I didn't get it. And Tuesday came and went, and I was shocked. Shocked. I was like, but no, I really thought this was, and then you let it go. You go, okay, that wasn't the one. Just wasn't the one. But now that casting director knows me, right? And I know that I did good work. So it's hard to let go sometimes, Jay. But look, you had a callback for an A-list feature. I just want can we just give Jay some love and congrats for that? That is huge. Like an A-list feature, how many of us audition for indie films, and the A-list features, at least for me in my career right now, and maybe for you, Jade, they're few and far between. And so the fact that you got one and got a callback, that's huge. So I know that you want it. I would want it. I would feel the same way you're feeling right now. But I would invite you to focus on the win not being the booking, but the win being the callback, and the win building the relationship with that office. Right. And celebrating in you that how far you got that. And yeah, it's and oh, you said not second guessing the tape as well. You got a callback. What's there to second guess? They loved you, they called you back. Only one person can get it. Don't second guess things. There's times I second guess things and I go back and watch my tape and I go, no, I stand by that. I stand by what I did. I felt real. It felt honest. Go watch your tape. Go congratulate yourself. Pat yourself on the back. Mark that off as the first big win of 2026. Well, this was the end of 2025. And don't write it. You made a second callback could happen. These are huge A-list features. They're going to take a bit, so the second callback could still come. But I think that's the hard thing, right? It's like when I was talking about the audition that when Tuesday came and went, and I was like, what? We have to, let me reframe. We get to expect that we're going to book, because if you don't believe you're going to book, that's the problem number one. If you're going into an audition going, oh, I probably won't get this. Ugh, I never get anything. Oh, I never get callback. I never get pinned. There's problem number one, right? Is the mindset around it. Or if you're getting an audition, you go, oh, this isn't right for me, but I guess I'll do it anyway, right? That's not the right mindset for those things. So we get to, sorry, something popped up and I got distracted. We get to look, let me dial it back. Hold on. Lost my train of thought, you guys. So sorry. It's all how we start to approach it, right? So we really want to look at the mindset of something. Oh, that's what I was saying. So we get to approach these tapes with the expectation that it could be ours, that it is ours, that I'm showing you how I'm going to play this role, which could be mine. And I believe it's going to be mine. That's why on Tuesday, I was like, really? But at the same time, I was able to go, okay, this wasn't the one. I'm not going to get mad about it. I'm not going to get sad about it because I can't control what happens on the other end. So Jay, right now, you filmed a second tape for the callback. That's fine. That's fine. I wouldn't second guess it. I'm sure you gave them what they wanted. I'm sure you did, Jay. You are so talented. I know you. I know your work. Um, yeah, I wouldn't second guess any of it. Own that you showed them who you were. And you got to believe that it's for you. And then when we know that that time frame has passed, then we get to let it go. We get to let it go. Why? Because statistically speaking, you're not going to book everything. That's just insane. Like, I really thought those 2 auditions I had, I'm like, I could book both of these. The odds of that happening are pretty slim. They're pretty slim, just in a numbers game, right? So, so yeah, I think we get that's that again, it's that dichotomy of believing and expecting we can book it, and then when we don't, that it's okay, right? And having some process of letting go. Like, I usually throw away my sides after each audition, but I will confess that some of them that I get attached to, which was that one, like I have the sides right here. They're in my inbox on my desk. So now I'm probably going to throw these away, you know? But for me, that's kind of like a symbolic thing of like, I did my job, I threw it away. So Jay, journal about it. Journal about how great of an actor you are. You know, every morning I do like a silent meditation, but I just always, I have affirmations going through my head of I'm an incredible actor and opportunities are coming to me, and right, like maybe do something like that or do some journaling. But it is holding on to the belief and then letting it go. And that is so challenging. And I wish I had like an elixir or something to give you to make that easier. But that's just part of our job. And, it was a couple of years ago, I auditioned for a series reg on a new Apple TV show, and casting even came back to my manager at the time and said, "Oh, she's on the younger side for this, but if she wants to do a tape, we'll see it." And I was like, well, that's not great feedback to start. So I did the dang tape, and it was down to me and 4 other women. Like, I made it to producers. And that was hard not to get. That was hard. Like, when you get down that far, or when you get a callback for an A-list, like it's hard. Right. And so there is part of a grieving process. And for that job in particular, I allowed myself a grieving process because we had, a first audition, a Zoom callback, a Zoom producer session, like it, oh no, I think the callback was a tape like you did, Jay. And then the producer session was on Zoom. So I get it. I get it. So maybe it is about having a grieving process to let it go. And then knowing that the next one is around the corner. Right. I always remind myself of what Jason Bateman gave a beautiful speech at the SAG Awards maybe 5 years ago. I don't know. I think it was when he was doing Ozark. So maybe a bit ago. And he just said, and I like watching the award shows, and the speeches make me cry usually. and I was listening to Jason Bateman, and he said, he's like, for all the actors out there, he's like, I'm going to cry even just saying it. Oh my God. You're just like, you're one audition away. You're one audition away, but you just don't know which one. You just don't know which one. So just remember that, Jay. But what you have already is a huge win. So still expect it and believe in yourself. And then when this time is right, have your grieving process to let it go. And then you have more opportunities, right? It's hard because when we get these auditions, like even this week was a dry week for me. I had 0 auditions this week. I had 2 last week. And so already I'm like, I'm never getting another audition in January. Like, our brains are crazy. Like, I know that's not true, but it's just funny. Like, we think there's a lack of opportunity. But Jay, this is the first stepping stone with this office for way more opportunity. So just know that. Just know that. I love it. All right, let me go to YouTube here. Angel. Hi, Angel. Angel says, an actor brought this up in a general union meeting last week. When you get in a veil and never hear that you're released, they should have a courtesy to tell actors when they're released, since you can't accept any other jobs. Yes. No. You should definitely, like, if I haven't heard, like, I was pinned like 6 times last year. 2 of them I ended up booking. But I remember there was one in particular that I was like, time is ticking. So I remember I reached out to my manager. I think she was the one that got it for me. And I was like, can we reach out to casting and just double check on this? And then like a couple of days later, then we heard that I was released, that they hadn't made a choice yet. But we should definitely know when we're released. See, the thing is, casting offices all function differently. So there are some casting offices that they'll send 10 tapes to producers, and they'll put you on a veil, those 10 people on a veil, and send to producers because they don't want egg in their face if the producer says, I want that one. Then there are other offices who they'll send 10 tapes. The producers go, we like these two. We're not sure yet. Those 2 people get pinned or put on a veil. So every office runs differently. So if there's 10 people they're putting on a veil, they might not think about it, right? That's more us going, oh my God, in a veil. But we just don't know how their office is running. But I 1,000% agree with you, Angel, that I do think it is a courtesy. And I do think we get to be told. And if you hadn't heard anything and the episode is coming up shooting, like I knew, reach out to your team and have them follow up for you. Awesome. That's a great question. Jay says, thank you. Thank you, Jody. And I love your vulnerability. You're welcome, Jay. You're welcome. Tony says, absolutely. Also, congrats on Atlanta. I think we share the same rep. Oh, he says she's fabulous. Well, if it is the same rep, she is fabulous. It's Carol Shaganaw. Are you with Carol? I just adore her. Anyway, okay, let me go over to YouTube. Katie says, I made it. And then she says, I think my friend asked a friend to bring up that question to SAG. It's a tiny little world, and it's a tiny little world. But hi, Katie Patterson. Happy New Year. And for all of you just tuning in and joining, hi, Happy New Year. I think I'm a day late. I think you're allowed to say Happy New Year up until January 15th. I think. This is my own rule, which is why since getting back to work on January 5th, I was like, I wanted to send a Happy New Year email to my maintenance list of casting directors who I know. And the first week of the year, I got really, there was a lot of projects that were happening and creative things. And I didn't send out the email. And then Monday of this week came and I was like, oh gosh, darn it. It's already, we're getting there. And then my Monday was crazy with teaching. My Tuesday was crazy with teaching. And I was like, I have to do this on Wednesday. It was January 14th. And that's when I send out it's getting a little close, 2 weeks into the year, but Happy New Year. So anyway, so if you haven't followed up with the people on your maintenance list or wished casting directors or producers who a Happy New Year, here is your PSA to reach out and say something nice and wish them well on their creative projects. I sent out almost 90 emails, I think. And I had a lot of people respond to me, which was really nice. Again, I'm digressing now into talking about relationships and building industry relationships. But I think sometimes actors think, oh, I only reach out when I have something to say, when I'm in something, when I booked something. And that's not the case. On my maintenance list, I researched who was nominated for a Critics' Choice Award. Did I have any of the offices on my list? Because I sent a separate email to those people and congratulated them on being nominated. It's the first time there was a category for casting an ensemble in the Critics' Choice Awards. And I said nice things about them. And I had a PS that my episode of NCIS is airing this quarter. And I'm currently working on a new Ryan Murphy show. But that was just my little PS. And some of them read it probably, and some of them didn't. And some of them emailed back and they were like, oh my God, of course you did. Of course you're on those shows. And I was like, thanks. But we don't have to have those. If I had no PS, people still would have responded because it was about them and just about being a human. And I even said something about, I'm just so grateful to be in this creative community with you. Because it's what it is. We're in a creative community together. And the more we start to think about that we're all in this together and part of a community together, I think the more joyful this career comes. And I get it because I always had a thing of not belonging, and it's still like a limiting belief of mine that comes to the surface. And I have to remind myself that I do belong. We all have limiting beliefs from how we grew up. So I felt really strong about saying, I'm grateful to be part of this community with you. Cause I think Jody 5 years ago probably couldn't have even said that, cause I still felt like on the outside of the community. It's just, yeah. But again, it's all mindset, right? It's kind of what we started talking about at the very beginning is how do you want to feel? What's the mindset? What's getting in your way? All of those things. Tony, you are with Carol. I love her. She's so smart. She's a little smarty pants. Okay. Oh, it's me. I love it, Katie. Angel, do you have your team send it out for you since most casting don't give out their contact info? No, I have emails from casting directors for maybe if I did a workshop with them or sometimes when I had callbacks, they would CC me on the callback and my team. That happened with a bunch of offices, so I got emails that way. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of casting that I have no contact info for at all. And so those people I'll reach out to on social, or, some casting don't want to be found. Some want to connect in their forward facing in their business, and some don't want to be found at all. So, everyone's going to run their business differently, but the email addresses I have are ones that I sent personally, and I had their emails personally. So, yeah, my manager would never send out like a general email to casting on my behalf. That would be, yeah, she wouldn't do that. Katie, this is a revelation I want to discuss. Will, that's Katie's hubby, got a background gig the past 2 days, and it was brutal for him. After seeing him go through that, it made me realize I don't really miss film. Kind of weird after being in film for 15 plus years. And now I'm finding I'm loving voiceover even more. It's just weird with what shifts in your life. Katie, that's a beautiful revelation. It's a beautiful revelation. And sometimes we have these revelations on smaller levels, but then we don't do anything about it because we might feel like a failure in letting it go. For example, and you might have heard me talk about this before, Katie. I know you've been in my community a long, long time. I used to have a commercial voiceover agent. I used to do commercial voiceover. And every time I'd get an audition for commercial voiceover, I'd go, ugh. Like literally. Ugh. And then there was one day I was like, Jody, what are you doing? Right? What are you doing? You don't have to do this if you don't want to do it. And I was like, yes, but it could be viable and it could be blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all this stuff. Things I tell actors not to do, that I coach people not to do, I was doing, that I couldn't separate my ego from like, and being like, oh, I have an agent for everything. I couldn't separate my ego from my true desire. And I kept doing the dang auditions I come in. And surprise, surprise, I did not get booked or on anything. I actually got a call back a couple times, but I just did not love it. It wasn't for me. And I was with that agent. I don't even remember now, but it was a few years, you guys. And I loved her and she loved me. And she ends up like dropping me. And I wasn't surprised, and I was relieved. But I needed someone else to make that decision for me to stop doing that. And since she dropped me, even my manager at the time was like, well, we can go after another voiceover agent. I was like, no, I don't. I don't want that. I really don't want that. That it's okay to pick and choose what you want to do in this industry. So, Katie, that took me a couple years to like finally realize and bring into fruition. So if you're having an epiphany right now that film isn't where you want to be, then just stop. And if you miss it, then you can go back to it. Right? But sometimes we feel like, no, I've been doing it for 15 plus years, so I guess I got to keep doing this thing. But if voiceover is fulfilling you and film is not, you get to acknowledge that and be okay with that. So I love that you had that realization, and I share my story in case other people out there too are like, we feel like we have to do it all sometimes, but you don't. You don't. You get to do what you love. Again, going back to the very top of this live, how do you want to feel? Right? And that's the most important thing. Katie says, I still have the rules I've put in place for film. My projects are French projects, but other people's projects, I'm good. I love it. I love the clarity. I love that clarity. Amazing. All right, let me go here on Instagram. Mario. Hi, Mario. How are you? Speaking of correspondence, maybe you missed it, which is all good, but I sent you a DM and messaged you on a post using your hashtag. Got it. Yeah. Oh, Mario, there's between Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, my 2 businesses, my acting career, I fall behind on personal correspondence. My assistants check my DMs and let me know when I need to answer something because my time is so limited. So if I miss something that you sent, it was not deliberate at all. If you sent it a while ago, I really apologize because usually within 2 weeks I'll respond. But if you just sent something, there's no way I saw it. Just being real. No way I saw it this week. If you posted it a few days ago, no way I saw it. I really try to stay on my path and not get distracted with social. So of course, keep me posted on progress that you're doing. Of course. And again, if it's been a bit, forgive me for not responding. The Canadian actress joined. She got into acting college. Amazing. Congrats. That's awesome. Hi, Emmanuel. Who else joined? Manhattan Video Productions. Hello. Good morning, Marta. Good morning, Davis. I love it. Hi, Rupinder, Joseph. All right, so many people. Okay, let me come over here to Facebook. Hi, Carol. All right, Carol has a question. She said, ugh, the not belonging belief. Yeah. Thank you for a suggestion the other day to send a thank you to a CD via Instagram. You're welcome. You're welcome. While there, I followed the director as well, and thanks to your encouragement, decided to message him. Just now, got a sweet note back from him. The difference between listening to my outsider belief and deciding instead to believe I am part of this community. Oh, Carol. Carol, that makes me so happy. I'm so glad you did it. I'm so glad you reached out. Oh, Carol's in one of my courses, and there was one thing that came up is like, I want to message them, but I don't have their email. I was like, well, find them where they're active. Are they active on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook? Find them there, DM them. They can respond or not respond. Like Mario, who's like, you didn't respond. I'm like, well, I haven't had time yet. Like you might not hear in a month from a casting director if you DM them, because that might not be their mode of communication, and they might only check once a month. But we still get to try. So Carol, I'm so glad that you did it. And I'm so glad that gave you courage to reach out to someone else. And now you see what happens. You see what happens. I even reached out to casting directors this week who didn't call me, and they were on my maintenance list. I met them over the past whatever years, and maybe a couple of them I hadn't talked to in 3 years. And one of them said, Jody, long time no see. So great to hear from you. So, as opposed to going, oh, the casting director must hate me. They haven't called me in. Like there just hasn't been something right for me. That's okay. That's okay. So I love that, Carol. I love that. So this is more of this, please, for you. More of this, please. More of reaching out. And look, this happens to all of us, right? I put on this big summit last year, and we're actually doing a flash sale on the recording of the summit this week. So if you didn't attend that live and you didn't get the recordings then, you can't buy them on my website, but we're releasing them this week for 50% off. So it's $38 for 24 sessions. 18 sessions, 24 industry guests. The information in this summit is incredible. Like, I asked really deep questions of these casting directors. So if you're wanting to know how casting is thinking now and in their industry now, I highly recommend that you get this summit and have that content and listen to it. It is so motivating and so actionable, and it comes with the whole workbook I created for you. So I definitely recommend getting that. You can find it in my, LinkedIn. No, that's not what I meant. Link in my bio here on Instagram. I'm sure there's posts about it on Instagram. I will post the link in this after. But if you go to actor-insider.com/the-shortlist, or send me a DM, I'll send it to you. But I highly recommend getting that because it's so motivational. Now, I brought that up because last year when I decided to do a summit, it was reaching out to casting in a different way, right? Being, hey, I want to interview you. And that brought up feelings for me. And then it was super successful, and every casting director was so happy, and I got really to chat with them in a different capacity. And so this year I'm doing it again. I'm doing another summit, the second annual SHORTLIST summit in August. And at the end of last year, I was like, I have no more guests. I tapped into all my contacts. And so last week I started putting together a list of people I'll reach out to. And I was like, Jody, you have so many more contacts you can reach out to. But it's just funny what the brain does. My brain was like, no, you have nobody else. You already tapped in everybody else. It's going to be too hard. It's going to be this. It's just funny what the brain does. So I just bring that up in response to what you're saying, Carol, of, that sense of belonging. It's like, oh no, everyone I really know, I already reached out to. And it's like, no, but you also know these other people, and you also know they know other people, and you can just ask. Like, just ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. Ugh, I hope that was helpful. Okay, let me go back here to Instagram. Canadian actress starts college in 7 days. I love it. I love it. Mario says, apologies, I shouldn't assume the worst. You seem like a sweetheart with the highest integrity. I do sincerely appreciate you and I'm excited to share and keep you updated. Amazing. And you got first place on Table Topics. It's great. My ex used to be in Toastmasters, so I know all about Toastmasters. Tania, my Virgo sis, love you. Hi, Tania. Good to see you. Marta says, got a jet. Just want to thank you for everything. And you say, I booked but there's no other word. So I don't know what you booked, but you booked something. I love it. Let's see. Carol says, yes. Okay, great. That makes sense. All right, team, we still got another 10 minutes here. What other questions are coming up for you? Thoughts? Anything come up from basically what we've talked about already as we're starting 2026? God, we're halfway through January. It's really wild how quickly time moves, you know? They say the older you get, the faster it moves. I'm definitely getting older, so it's definitely moving faster. All right, let me know what other questions are happening. What else you got for me? Yeah, this concept of belonging is really big. Does anyone else have an issue with feeling like they belong or feeling like an outsider in this business? That's why my business is called Actor Insider, you guys, because I know that I felt like an outsider in this business for so long. And I know a lot of my clients feel that way. And I wanted people to feel like they're on the inside because we are all part of this community together, no matter where you are, how much you're booking or not, how many auditions you're getting or not. We're all in this together. Marta says, yeah, I'm all NDAs on the booking. I can say the negotiating dates process is fascinating mind challenge. Okay. This sounds like a big project. Marta. Congratulations. I can't wait to hear about it. That's awesome. Mario says, respectfully, how old are you? Respectfully, I will not share that information. But thank you for saying respectfully. No, I mean, I don't publicly just share my age because I get cast in roles between like 35 to 55. You know, I think certain casting sees me as older, certain casting sees me as younger. And I think it's better to keep the perception of what people want to see. Because sometimes age, especially as a woman, can skew perception. So yeah. Let's see. Rupinder. Yep. I feel like that is why I get attracted to projects that deal with belonging. Yeah. Right. Rupinder. For sure. Me too. It's such a big thing. And it's, it's part of the impetus for my whole coaching business is, like I said, I want actors to belong. And, even was it yesterday? Oh yeah. Rupinder, you get to show up to that. You're a Dare to be Unstoppable alumni. We had one of our Dare to be Unstoppable calls yesterday. And, and I hear this a lot and it's so lovely where people say, you can really tell that like you see us and you hear us and you think about the question and you answer it. And for me, that's just second nature. And it's shocking to me that other coaches aren't that way, but just that you really see people and hear people. And it's because I want people to feel like they belong because I didn't get that. I didn't get that as a kid. I didn't ever feel like I was really seen and heard. So yeah, I'm really attracted to projects like that too, Rupinder. Yeah, for sure. And a lot of my film is about that too, right? Of course, there's themes of that running through there. So yeah, it's interesting the things we heal or the things we're attracted to as artists a lot of the times. Yeah. Okay, let me go here to YouTube. Katie, sometimes I feel like an outsider, but I'm finding that building my community is so fucking important. Also as important as taking classes. Yes, totally. I'd put it as number 2 important things to do. And I mean community with other actors as well as directors, producers, for sure. You want to feel like you have that support system. It's so easy to feel like we're alone or think we have to go it alone in this business. And yeah, so community support, mentors, coaches, whatever, like everybody, actors, friends. I think it's important to have a community that gets you. So Katie, I love that. What a great reminder for everybody. It's a great reminder for everybody. All right, let's see. Marta says, I love you, Jody. I have your lessons printed out in my business drawer. A touchstone of sanity and positivity. I love it. She says, break a leg on the film. We're all so proud of you. Got to run. Thanks, Marta. Yeah, the film is still in development, but part of the holidays, I was taking a bunch of meetings with people in Massachusetts about shooting my film there, and it's looking real good, you guys. It's looking real good. Yeah, things are great, but miles to go. Filmmaking is no joke. Where are my producers out there? You get it, right? Filmmaking is no joke. I have a friend I went to high school with and who I met, reconnected with over the holidays, and he is the executive chef of 6 restaurants in my hometown. So he's going to let us shoot we have a restaurant scene, 2 restaurant scenes, and he's going to let them shoot them in his restaurant. And we'll hopefully get him on board for catering and all of that. But he was like, "Well, when are you filming?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know yet. Like, this is all right. I need to raise $1.2 million before the tax credit, and we still need to hire the celebs, and we still need to get all the department keys, and we still need right. There's like so many things that need to happen, but you got to start laying the groundwork early to secure pieces." But anyway, it's just very funny. I was like, "Oh yeah, you don't understand how it works. That's cool. That's cool. I'll educate you on it." But yes, filmmaking is no joke. All right, what else? We have a few more minutes. Any other thoughts, questions? Things coming up for you? Filmmaking is an odyssey. It's a long journey. Will you meet friends and foes before making it to the end? Yeah, that's a good way to put it. She's feeling philosophical. Is that how you want to feel this year, Katie? Philosophical. That's very true, though. It's very true. It's a long journey. A long journey, but a very fulfilling one for sure. For sure. All right, what else? What else is happening? My I usually have lots of things, and my mind just went, "I'm done." I'm done. You have to help me out now. Someone has to ask me a question to help me out now. Gosh, we've been all over the place though with today, right? Really about, again, just to recap that very first thing I said, if you're just joining in now, of really just taking some time, take some time today or this weekend to really think about how do you want to feel in 2026. Take some time and think about that. And then what do you need to do? What do you get to do? What do you need to change to allow that feeling to happen? So I would really think about that, because that is key. That is key for me. And from there, then you can create your quarter plan, right? I really want you to think about things quarterly. Now, if this is not in your wheelhouse to do this, if this is not how you think, if you know that you need, outside support and bring this stuff in, DM me. One of my courses is going to be great for you to do that. My mastermind group could be great for you to do that. My groups have been full. I'm going to be having, I think I have 1 spot open in February, and then potentially 2 spots open in March. So if that's something you want to do, that you're ready to jumpstart your career and you want to have a 6-month commitment to do it. The people that go through my mastermind group are not the same 6 months later. They're not. Rupinder was in my mastermind group. He can tell you, it changes everything. So if you know that you're ready for something like that, DM me. Let's talk it out. Let's figure out how I can support you on your journey. Because as Katie says, it's a journey. Filmmaking is a journey. Our acting careers are a journey. It is a long ass odyssey where we want to keep meeting friends and not foes. But we also need to have plans, structures, clarity, systems around everything that we do to make it easier for us. Yes. All right. Final thoughts. Anyone want to leave me with a final thought? Any final thoughts? What's one thing, for those of you who still tuned in here? Katie, my theme of the year, follow the lighthouse, meaning that don't see fear as a warning light flashing, but a lighthouse guiding you. Ooh, I love it. That's beautiful, Katie. You are very philosophical today, Katie. I like this new Katie. I like it. Yeah, exactly. I was just talking with again, a client yesterday about resistance. This was in my Dare to Be Unstoppable course. And that she was feeling resistance to, well, it doesn't really matter what. She was feeling this resistance. And so she wasn't doing what she was going to do because she was feeling resistance towards it. And she's like, "Oh, I just need better time management. I just need a better system." I was like, no, you need to understand what that resistance is telling you. We need to look deeper underneath that resistance. What's underneath that? What do you think is going to happen, right? Dig really deep and unmine what's really going on, because the root of that resistance is what's keeping you from doing the thing. Because even if I give you a whole structure to do the thing, you're not going to do it because of this root thing. So I think I love that reframe that it's the lighthouse is guiding you, right? And that's kind of what I was telling this client yesterday was the resistance is guiding you to what you really need to look at and heal to be able to show up fully in your career. So again, if you're feeling resistance, if you're feeling fear, as Katie was saying, that is something to examine head on. And sometimes it's not stuff that we can do alone. I have an accountability partner I talk to twice a week about stuff like that. We don't talk to each other about remind me to email my manager. That's not the stuff we do. I have an accountability partner that's purely for emotional stuff, right? Because I know that that's the biggest hurdle. That's the biggest hurdle. I know it's the biggest hurdle for me. It's the biggest hurdle for her. So we make sure that we support each other in that. So if you are facing any of that resistance or fear or any of that stuff, I really invite you to look at it head on and find some support system to help you with that. And if you think that can help you with that, I know that I could DM me and we can share some ways of how we could work together with that. All right, team. Woo, what a lovely conversation on a Friday. So just in case you missed it at the top, I am sort of rebranding my coffee and coaching hour. It is now called Actor Insider Live. And I will be going live on the first Friday of every month. I know I used to go live twice. I had to move it down to once just because things have been so busy in my own career and with my film and with everything. But now I'll do Actor Insider Live the first Friday of every month. I'll be here answering all of your questions to really help create, sustainable careers for you. Because that's what's really important. All right, everyone. So good to see you. So great to connect and share philosophical musings as we did today. I'm very excited for this day in Los Angeles because it is 83 degrees outside today. It's going to be 83 degrees in January. I'm loving it. So I'm going to get some sunshine on my face later today and ease into my weekend. All right. So good to see you all. Phlegm in my throat as I said that. So good to see you all. DM me. Let me know what's going on. Really appreciate you all. All right. I will see you later. Bye, Instagram. Bye, YouTube. And I have to figure out